Hi, this is Claire from Earth Animal Communication. I thought for the second part of my dialogue with Lonesome, if you remember, I made a post about a week ago which detailed a snippet from some dialogues that I've been having with my old horse Lonesome, who's been a source of inspiration and wisdom for many years in my life. And I said that I would write again about the second part, because he was talking about clarity, and from the horse's perspective, how important it is that the human approaches a horse from a sense of clarity. And he talked a little bit about how horses perceive humans energetically and how they can perceive the psychic, emotional, mental debris that accumulates within our system. And the second part of this dialogue, which I'm going to read and then share a little bit about my thoughts on this, in the second part he goes on to make a couple of suggestions about exercises that can be done in order to begin to find clarity, the clarity that the horses are seeking to engage with from within the very core of the human. And of course, from our perspective, a human perspective, much work has been done in recent times to develop this type of relationship with horses, equine assisted work, so that to assist the human to become more congruent and more authentic. But it's interesting to get this from a wise old horse such as Lonesome. So to begin with, I'd like to share this. So this is the second part of the dialogue, which I'm going to read. So I asked Lonesome from his perspective how we could heal the debris which he was describing that they could perceive within our systems and that they couldn't engage with, they didn't want to engage with. And this is what he answered with. Ah yes, I thought you'd never ask. These are practical and be carried out by anyone. There are layers to who you are. These layers, or bodies as you call them, because remember, in communication, I've been doing this for quite a long time, he understands particular thought forms that I have, and he can communicate using particular concepts that he knows I'm familiar with. So that's why the vocabulary is as it is. And this can be different with different individuals, but this is how he speaks with me. So he says, there are layers to who you are. These layers, or bodies as you call them, should ideally be clear and aligned with your inner core being, your soul. Always your system will try and maintain balance. So when you feel anything other than at peace, expansive and alive, ask this part of you, this innermost core, what do I need to do to regain balance? And this was the first question. What do I need to do to regain balance? The second question, what do I need to do in order to live from you more consciously, to align with your truth? And this second question is, of course, the question that we ask ourselves in order to align with our inner core, our inner soul, our inner truth. He goes on to say, after you have asked these two questions with sincerity, you put something into motion. Asking them acts as a catalyst. Do not expect great things to suddenly fall into place. They may do, but it's highly unlikely. Instead, expect life to bring to you and up within you the imbalances that you need to clear so as to return to peace. Remember, horses perceive humans' natural state as peace. Anything other than that is unnatural from their perspective. I would like to stress here once more, he goes on to say, peace is your natural state. However, peace can only be reached when the imbalances have been dealt with. There is another aspect to this as well as dealing with past imbalances which have built up. You will need to know how to cope with life's challenges without them becoming lodged in your system. Otherwise, the build-up will begin to affect you and begin to build up all over again. This isn't a one-time thing that you suddenly clear and then you don't need to do it again. Rather a way of living and experiencing life based on self-knowledge. Then I asked Lonesome, when life brings to us or brings up within us that which needs to be healed or exorcised, I said that I think that people will want to know how to do it. You see, there are a lot of techniques already out there, and there are many techniques, and a lot of them actually aren't that effective. And so I asked him what his view was on this, and he said, it is obvious to us when it's carried out properly or not. Believe me, it is really obvious. The contents that need to be healed or exorcised have a tangibility about them. They are almost palpable. This is how the horses perceive us, you see. When the human is able to feel this, to really engage with it, then knowledge will come forth as to how to finally release it permanently. I think it is best that you try it and then add this to the section, as humans will find your experience of what I say valuable. And that was the end of this first snippet of dialogue. And with that, I decided that I would do the exercise, and it's stuff which I have been doing in a different way for many years. And what I have found, both in my own experience and as I've taught others, is that we indeed are multi-layered beings, and that when we interact with all animals, but especially horses, because in my experience different species have different soul qualities that they embody with and choose to engage with humans with. And it seems to me that horses have this unique capacity to be very truth orientated and power orientated, but the truth that they want to engage with is the soul truth of the human. And when a horse is allowed to express itself, they have little time for the dominance-based ego, insecure ego of the human being, but rather what they yearn for is the humble soulfulness, the powerful soulfulness of the core of who we are. There's a difference, of course, between ego woundedness, insecurities, inflations, and horses have suffered a lot from that over the years. There's a difference between that and the soul wound, the sacred wound. And that's a whole different ballgame. So I'm not talking about what one of the new archetypes, fairly new archetypes, Chiron, embodies the sacred wound. So I'm not talking about that. That's something very different. But what I am talking about is the wounds that build up in our system from the egoic structure that, by being embodied in this physical world, we also come in with. And it takes its knocks and its dents. And not only that, but we also are subject to cultural wounds, ancestral wounds, societal wounds. And after a while, all of these ways of perceiving, the emotional stuff, gets locked into our system. And so from his perspective, asking two simple questions, coming into that central point of stillness and balance, asking with true sincerity, what is it in me that I need to realign with in order to live more consciously with my soul truth? What is it within me that seeks to come up into my consciousness so that I can finally heal, release, expand my experience of it? And every step that we make along that pathway, every time, instead of doing what I call the spiritual bypassing, which some of the New Age ascension material is about, going deep into the body's wisdom. And this is another thing that horses teach us. They are embodied beings, as are all animals. But a horse needs a human to be really embodied. So going within our embodied state and asking with sincerity those two questions and allowing the answers to come up from within us, and then to take action. Every time we take a step along that path, the horses perceive it, and they will work with us in a slightly different way. It's not the easiest path. Lonesome says it's very straightforward, but he's a horse, so I guess it is more straightforward for him than it is for us. But give it a go. Give it a go. So to end, I'm just going to go back and get those 2 questions again. Okay, first question, and this is to ask of the innermost core of you, of yourself. What do I need to do to regain balance? First question, because who you are always seeks balance, always seeks to know harmony within itself. The body system is a system of balance and harmony. Second question, what do I need to do in order to live from my soul more consciously, to align with my soul core truth? If you were to ask those questions, 2 questions from within a place of stillness and silence, then just see what comes up to the surface. And that's what I'd like to leave you with, and I hope you've enjoyed this short video. And no doubt there'll be more snippets from the dialogues that I have with Lonesome being posted on Facebook page, and maybe some more videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.